Hi, Joe Camberati here. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing well in your business. You know, the topic of hiring has come up so many times as we move into this new year. It's been the most challenging time to hire. But, you know, I think that was happening prior to COVID. And a lot of owners keep asking us to do something about hiring. We've been #1 top workplace on Long Island 3 years in a row. We've got an awesome team and awesome culture. So we're putting a webinar together. It's going to talk about hiring in today's world, the things that you can do and some simple things that don't really cost any money that you can implement in your business to help not only attract employees, but retain employees. Hiring has really become a function of marketing today, and you really need to be marketing your business in the right way. So why don't you join us in our webinar, and we will go over some of the top things that we've been doing in our business that can help you in your business hire and attract new employees. Also joining this webinar will be our Chief of Staff, Ashley, who's really great, and we're really happy to share some of the great things that we do here at National. I want to wish you nothing but the best. I hope to see you on this webinar to help you make 2022 the most successful it can be.
All right, thank you everyone for joining. We're going to get started here. And if you're just joining, drop in the chat where you're calling in from. I see my buddy Nick's on, AJ from Florida. Thanks for joining. We got a jam-packed webinar today. So just to start off, this meeting is being recorded. So if you are watching this meeting, you are consenting to recording. Also, National Business Capital, myself and Ashley are not giving any legal or tax advice. So you should always rely on your own advisors before you do anything in your own business. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Again, if you're just joining, drop in the chat where you're calling in from. So we're going to talk about the secrets to recruiting and hiring in 2022. What's really important that you understand about this webinar is, you know, we've put together things here. These aren't just things that, you know, we Googled and found online. These are actually things that we're doing in our business. And it's things that Ashley's are doing, and we're constantly making changes, and we're constantly doing things that are not only attracting people, but also retaining people. One of the biggest things we're going to talk about at the end, we're going to cover a lot of things. I'm going to move quickly because I know you guys are all running your own businesses, and I truly respect your time. So forgive me if I'm moving fast. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll make sure to answer them at the end. But one of the most important things, you know, that we're going to talk about today and at the end of this webinar is really culture and some of the amazing things that we've done here, because everything that we're talking about all ties back to culture, and it's super important. But we're going to talk about some really cool things that you can implement into your business, and a lot of them don't really cost any money. They're just some thoughts, and all these things we're actually doing in our own businesses. So again, thank you for joining. On this call today is myself. My name is Joseph Camberati. I'm the CEO and founder of National Business Capital. I'm on the Forbes Finance Council, and I'm also a member of YPO, Young Presidents Organization. And I see there's some folks on this call from YPO today, so thank you guys for joining. And also on me is Ashley Sampson, who's our Chief of Staff and Talent Acquisition here at National. Thanks for joining, Ashley.
Of course, happy to be here. Same
here. So some fun facts about National. We were founded in 2007. I founded the company actually out of my spare bedroom. We've grown to an amazing company that we are today. Since founding in 2007, we've helped secure over $1 billion in financing for small, medium-sized companies all across the country in all different types of industries. We have over 75 lenders on our marketplace, so you apply in one simple place and you can access all types of financing for your business. But more importantly, we've been #1 top workplace on Long Island for the last 3 years in a row, for 2019, 2020, and 2021, which is something that we're really proud of. I know Ashley's really proud of, and a lot of it's because a lot of things that we're going to talk about on this webinar today. And just some cool fun facts, just kind of stemming back to culture and doing different things outside of the box with our team. We're always doing stuff here locally in the community. Some of our folks have their own initiatives that they do. For every deal we fund, we donate 10 meals to Feeding America. We've donated over 100,000 meals to date. And then every year around Thanksgiving, we actually build Thanksgiving boxes and supply a whole Thanksgiving meal, including a turkey, to local families in need. We build them right in the office, and then we get out and we hand deliver those. So it's just something that we're super proud about. And again, all goes back into the culture and the things that we're doing here in the business. So some interesting fun facts, I mean, or wild facts. I mean, everyone's talking about this great resignation, and it just sounds, crazy and scary, and what's going on. So, what's really important to know is the unemployment rate is at 3.9% right now. So it's actually back to the lowest it's been since February of 2020. So everyone's talking about this great resignation, but what you should understand is that people are resigning and going and taking other jobs. So it's not that they're resigning and sitting home on the couch. They're moving into to go to other places. And what's really wild is that 51% of companies reported that it's difficult to fill their new openings. And what also is very interesting is that we have 10 people starting on Thursday. We don't have the same challenges that I think a lot of people are having. It's still not easy for us. In order to get to those 10, we probably had to interview over 30 plus people and field through, I mean, how many resumes would you say, Ashley?
I would say anywhere from 200 to 300, I would say it came in across all positions.
So it's not easy at all. And you have to really have a process, I think, in order to get to the right candidates. We're going to talk about some of that stuff today. Some really good stuff that I think you guys can utilize in your business. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And who's excited to be here? If you're excited to be here, drop a yes in the chat. All right, so we broke down just some states and just what's going on, like the states with the lowest unemployment, the states with the highest unemployment. And we're going to share this webinar, so you'll get to see this. I'm not going to bore you and go through all of these. But I thought what was interesting is, as of the last, the third quarter of last year, Nevada, California, and New York, obviously are the highest states with the highest unemployment. I think in the Northeast, we've been a little bit slower to get back to it than some of the states down south. But I just thought some of these were really interesting. We'll share this so you can dive into this. Unemployment's high here, but it's also very competitive here in New York. So some of these facts are kind of interesting. But let's talk about today's agenda. And thank you, everyone, for being so excited to be here. I'm excited to be here as well, too. So we're gonna talk about in the agenda today, why are people not applying with you? We're gonna cover that. How to do an interview in 15 minutes or less. Just curious, do you think doing an interview in under 15 minutes or 4 interviews in an hour, do you think that's possible? Drop your answer in the chat, and we're gonna get to that in just a little bit. Choosing the right candidates, onboarding and training, things that you should be thinking about for remote and hybrid teams, and building culture and retaining top talent. So this is everything that we're going to cover in this webinar today. And again, I'm going to move fast because I respect your time. So, one of the things that we're going to talk about, and Ashley's done a really great job with this, heading up this part of the business. I think today, it's your business for hiring is really become almost like a function of marketing. And it's super important that you are marketing your business today. Because if you are not, your competitors are. And what's more important is what's really interesting, and we're going to talk about all the bullet points here and all the different ways that we're marketing our company. Again, these are things that we're doing. We're not telling you to do them. We're doing them, and then we're sharing with you facts. When we're doing interviews, Ashley, how many people would you say, like what percentage, X out of 10 people, do you feel are almost like interviewing us, but that have done their research on the company and have looked us up all over the place online?
I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 tend to look us up, whether it be reviews from clients or reviews from employees. They typically will bring them up during the interview.
Which is really interesting, and they bring it up to us without us asking about it. It actually just comes up naturally. So some areas that you should consider reviewing, and what I've really found interesting is, obviously I'm sure you guys have all heard of Glassdoor, Indeed, and all the other job sites out there. But what's really interesting is not only are potential employees looking at Glassdoor, which is really like one of the biggest places that people look at, if they're going to go interview with your business, and they're doing that before you ever even speak to them or they apply. So either this is helping them apply or pushing them away. So, but what I think is interesting is people are also looking at our customer reviews on Google and on Trustpilot. We have over 1,000 reviews on Trustpilot, and I think over 500 Google reviews. So people are actually looking at what our customers are saying. That's how important it is for people when they're making decisions. So what I really recommend here is something that you can do very simply. You can do it on this call, you can do it when you get off, but go and Google your own business. When was the last time you Googled your business and what's coming up? And, that's what not are only your customers looking at, but also your employees are looking at that now too. So Google your business, see what's coming up on the first and second page. But then more importantly, specifically go to Indeed, go to Glassdoor. Now, even if you haven't set up these pages and pay for these services, because a lot of these, to really make them look nice, you do have to pay for. I would suggest that it's totally worth the investment. Some of them are not cheap, but by paying for Glassdoor and Indeed, you can add more pictures and photos and things that really people want to see when they're evaluating your business. On Glassdoor, we have over 67 reviews. But even if you don't pay for this stuff, people can still go to places like Glassdoor, Indeed, Trustpilot, Google, and leave reviews about your business, whether you realize it or not. So I'm not sure when the last time you went and snooped around and looked at this stuff, but it's super important. Also, social media is really important. We stay very consistently active on our social media. We talk about things that we're doing for our customers, so we do it from a marketing perspective, but we also are really doing a ton of things constantly here in the business. So one of the pictures here in this PowerPoint presentation is like a picture from our training, like the first day, one of our recent classes started, and we post that. So we're going out, we're doing events. I mean, there's a lot of things that is constantly happening in our office and outside of our office that we're constantly posting and just showing people, what's happening here at National. And when we're interviewing people, and potential employees, they're talking about all the different things that we're involved in. They can see the things that we're doing in the community. And all these things are really making a difference, more than I ever thought, would matter. So another really important thing to keep all of this stuff organized is, are you using an applicant tracking system? They're called, or known as ATS systems. It's kind of like a CRM for hiring. And Ashley pointed out some really good things. So it's not only just to keep track of the people that you've spoken to and made notes, you can also send out documentation. But Ashley, why don't you talk about some of the cool things that like the analytics and different things that you can, view of like where people are applying and coming in from, but also like when we put a resume together, how you can post it in one place and it goes everywhere. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. So not only, like Joe said, is an applicant tracking system going to keep you organized, but you're also able to see different analytics. For example, once you post your job, not only does it go to your website, but an applicant tracking system will push it to a number of different platforms, including Indeed, Glassdoor, CareerBuilder, ZipRecruiter, and you'll be able to see, hey, this is where my qualified applicants and candidates are coming from, and know where to kind of put the spend. So for example, we ran some analytics and we noticed that a majority of our qualified applicants were coming from Indeed. So we decided to put a bit of focus on Indeed and sponsor different jobs and, just to get them out there more. But not only that, your applicant tracking system, like for example, we use Jazz HR. I think that they are wonderful from a price standpoint, from a customer service standpoint. And they have a lot of great integrations. They integrate with, Google, our G Suite. They integrate with different background check software that we use. You can send an offer letter directly through them. So it kind of is, it's just very convenient to have everything all in one place. And then also to be able to see what's working and what's not working and to have like those analytics right at your hand.
Yeah, and it also integrates right into ADP as well too. So
yes,
when we do make a hire, all that information can get pushed right from Jazz HR right into ADP, and it saves the company and Ashley a ton of time, and it keeps everything organized. So definitely something you should look into. Also, what I loved initially was when we post a position, we can actually post it in one place, and then it puts it on all the job sites, again, which just saves Ashley a ton of time.
A lot of time.
And we'll save you or anyone in your team a ton of time too. And we also found, I think, I assume that Jazz HR has some sort of a deal worked out, but it's actually, you actually save money by posting through Jazz HR. Like, it's a little bit cheaper, and we're able to post and get our job postings out there to more places for less money. And then also post to like all these job boards and like all job boards that you've never even heard of. So it really just gets that resume all over the place and out there. And I think it also can connect to our social media as well too. Is that right, Ashley?
Yes.
Yep. And Jazz HR, I just see someone drop something in the chat. Yep, that's it. And we're happy to drop maybe that link in the chat. Maybe Lauren, you can look it up and drop it in the chat. So, I recommend putting a budget around all of this stuff. I mean, that seems obvious, but get a budget together. Get a budget together for how much you're going to spend it in posts on all the job sites, but also too, like boosting a post on social media, and to mention that you're hiring is super important as well too. And if you didn't know this, on social media, you can easily go on, you can create a post, and then you can also pick like a certain radius around your company and office. So that will only post to people locally. It's just another way to get that you're hiring out there. And sometimes we see that social media does better than Indeed or all the other job sites. So just something to keep in mind. Also, like, what does your website look like? Do you have any team pictures on your website? Is your social media, again, up to date? Is there pictures and active pictures of what you've got going on in your business? The one thing I say all the time is that your website and your social media channels really is like your business storefront. So the only way for someone that has no clue who you are, and this is not only for potential employees, this is also your customers. The only way that they can see who you are as a company is by looking on your website and looking on your social media, and whatever you put out there is what is how you're showcasing your company. So something really to think about. And you can kill two birds with one stone here: customers, potential customers, and employees. Super, super important. So again, hiring has become a function of marketing. And I really, that's one thing that I want you to leave here thinking about today. It'll change the way that you go about this. All right, so let's talk about how to do an interview in 15 minutes or less. When I share this with other business owners, they think that I'm crazy and that it's impossible. We actually started doing this on FaceTime and on before like Zoom blew up. And I was getting really bogged down years ago with doing interviews, and you had to you'd have someone come in and, it would take like an hour when someone comes in person. So probably about 4 years or so ago, we started doing FaceTime interviews. We would do it on FaceTime. If you didn't have FaceTime, we would do it on Skype. And literally, what we do here is, Ashley has a really great process with looking through resumes. Then she weeds them down to the ones that really make sense. And then really, very simply, we set up that 4 interviews back to back in an hour. And we do this to really utilize time. But what's most important about this is that, we tell people up front that, hey, this is just a quick meet and greet. This isn't your full interview. This is just to make sure that we're all on the same page, that, that we're mutual fits, and that we're not wasting each other's time. Not only does this save us time, it also saves the candidate time. And if it's not a good fit, they didn't have to take half a day driving out to your business. So it saves them time as well too. So we set that tone up front. This is going to be 5 to 15 minutes. We have a preset list of questions that we do. It's usually about, we have like a main goal. And our main goal is, are you a good person? Are you motivated? And you're coachable and trainable? And does the position really make sense for you? That's our main goal. And you can really uncover that in probably 5 to 10 minutes. And if it goes well, it goes to 15 minutes. And if it goes well, we let them know that we're going to follow up an in-person interview and go into more detail. And then that interview is obviously much longer. Another cool thing about this is we record these interviews. We obviously let the interviewees know that we're recording them. And what's really great about that is Ashley can share those with me or managers of the different teams where that new employee might be potentially going to. And then we can watch the interview later on or at our own leisure. And that just helps saves everybody time. Anything that you want to add here, Ashley?
I think you covered it. I think something that we did really well was, get together as a team and structure, like you said, the interview process. So know what's being discussed in, an upfront phone screen, what's being discussed in a FaceTime or a Zoom meeting, and then what's being discussed in the on-site interview. And they kind of all relate to each other. This way, everyone's kind of on the same page and you know what's being discussed within each interview process. So I think that's definitely what keeps me structured and organized in all of that.
Yeah, and I think from doing this too, sometimes in an interview, the other person, comes to the conclusion that this job is not for them. So again, it saved them time, and people really love it. When we were doing this 4 years ago, I think some interviewees were a little bit concerned, like it wasn't like as normal as it is now because of COVID and how much Zoom's taken off. So this has almost become normal now, and is definitely something that you should be doing first go around. So choosing the right candidates, we started to use predictive index in our business. This is actually my me up here, and basically, predictive index is just an assessment tool. You can pay for them individually at one-offs. You can pay for a monthly plan per year. And Lauren's dropping that in the chat. Thank you, Lauren. And if you want to, we use a really great consultant. You have to utilize a consulting agency that go through predictive index. I'm happy to share Eric's contact info with everyone. He's great. He's been doing predictive index his whole life, but using an assessment tool, basically we give this out up front and to make sure that, when we're having an interview with someone, that they are who they say they are. Because I don't know about you guys, but drop a yes in the chat if you've ever interviewed someone and then they got started and they were the exact opposite of everything that they said they were. I don't know about you if that's ever happened to you guys, but it's definitely happened to us. And it's frustrating. Listen, if you're going for a job, right, you want to get that position, you're going to say whatever you can to get that job. And if you're hiring for sales and they're good salespeople, even though they might not be a good fit in your business, they're probably going to do a great job of selling you. So utilizing an assessment tool, once we started utilizing predictive index, it really changed the game for us. But what's more important, it's helped us really confirm that people are who they say they are. It also gives us better questions to ask this person in the interview to make sure like there's certain areas that might be a challenge for them with the position. So it also gives us really great questions to ask in the interview. And we can really make sure that they're lining up with the position. But more importantly, what it's also done is when we onboard people, there's something that we can do here that gives us like coaching. It basically gives us things that we should discuss where a manager and an employee can work better together, and opportunities to coach people. So not only we brought this on as a hiring tool, but then we actually use it as a coaching tool, and it actually confirms that people are in the right seats in the business. And it also can help two different personalities actually communicate better. There's some folks in the business that have been here for years that are amazing and best employees. And initially we did not communicate the right way together. And I actually thought those individuals didn't care. And I just realized that no, actually, when I bring them things and communicate to them, they need time to process. So I have to circle back to those individuals a days later or a week later, and give them time to process information. And it's brought certain relationships to a whole new level. We communicate better because we really understand. We just understand our people better that work here. So using predictive index has been a great tool for hiring, but also along the way. But what this has really helped us do is eliminate the quantity over quality and really focus on really great quality people. The tool is not cheap. I forget how much we spend for it a year, but it is up there. I can tell you that it pays for itself every single year, probably 3 to 5 times over. So, and it's something Ashley and I talk about, the amount of money to interview, to onboard, and then to offboard. if you have to terminate someone, there's such a huge expense of that. So some of the things that you're going to need to do, whether it's pay for Glassdoor, Indeed, Predictive Index, yes, they're going to be expenses in your business, but they will pay for themselves 10 times over. So don't get wrapped up in the cost, get wrapped up in the opportunity, what it can do to change your business. Anything you want to add here, Ashley, that I missed?
I think you hit it all on the nose. And kind of just to kind of reiterate what you said is, you invest in these people up front by having the right tools that you need to, determine, like you said, if they're in the right seat. And then long term, they're investing in you and your company by staying, with the company for a very long time. So it certainly helps.
Yeah, and it's a great point. And I think, everything that you're doing in your business really, truly is an investment. And the most important investment is your people. So what another thing just to add to this, and we're going to move on, is, when we brought this on, we gave this out to the whole company and we thought people were going to be weird about it. Yeah. The team, the staff, the employees, they love this. They love, it's actually helped them understand their strengths and their non-strengths. We don't call them weaknesses, we call them non-strengths. And it's helped them understand where they're good and where they can improve, and where they may where maybe they can communicate better with their own managers. So people have really embraced this. They appreciate it, and it's actually helped everyone here, I think, be better, and everyone here communicate better. So our team loves loves the learning that has come from this, which is great. So just wanted to add that. So we'll talk about onboarding and training. Super important. Anything that you want to point out before I get moving, Ashley?
Just that it's an integral part of just having yourself organized and just keeping the candidates in the know throughout the process. So onboarding is huge.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things we do, we're crazy with processes. We are like process freaks here. And we can't do anything without a process. It's kind of become like the mantra in our business. And, when you think about it, and something I thought about, we were talking about this the other day, with one of our clients who's owns a business, because all of our customers own companies. And, you think about your business, you have a process for everything in your business. When you sell something, if you're a service business, what happens when someone goes out to someone's house or their place of business to do work? If you're selling stuff online, there's a process of how things get shipped, or, if you buy and sell inventory, your business, I'm sure, has multiple processes, but you have to have a process for onboarding people, and unfortunately for terminating people, and then obviously for interviewing people. So a lot of times we see a lot of companies, there's a process for a number of things when, for whatever it is that they're selling, but there isn't a process for onboarding and training, which is really interesting, because the most important thing in your business is people. And it's amazing to us how many people don't have an onboarding and training process. So we've really streamlined the onboarding process. We've tried to minimize as much physical paper as possible, and we use some sort of we use an e-signature platform. We used to use DocuSign, we use HelloSign now, but all of them are great and work. And it's just a matter of getting all of that paperwork into e-sign. Not only is it easier for us, but a lot of the young up and comer employees today, they don't even have printers in their houses anymore. Yeah. So, that actually can be, which is the craziest thing to me, but sending out an offer letter, sending out that whole package up front for them to fill out, if you're up against the competitor and the competitor sends everything's e-signature, seamless, easy. We have a cover letter. It talks about our culture. It talks about our company. It's very well done. And then someone else sends a PDF that's unorganized and you got to print it out. That actually could be a determining factor of why someone works for us over someone else, which to you may sound crazy, but it's just reality in today's world. So when someone's onboarding with us, they can fill out all of that paperwork right from their iPhone or a smartphone, or right from their computer. They don't need to print anything. It's really easy. We've streamlined and we even send some of that paperwork out as pre-filled as much as possible, just to make it easier. And then we've utilized our applicant tracking system. It's Jazz HR that I referenced earlier, it's integrated into ADP, which is our payroll company. So literally, like, we have a whole process of how these documents move through the whole process. We've streamlined it. By doing this, it saves so much time for Ashley, and then for the person who heads up ops that Ashley works hand in hand with, it saved her a ton of time as well too. And then also it saved time from saving documents and downloading and uploading and all these different things. So something that you should look into. And again, this has been a game changer by streamlining that process. More importantly, one of the most important things that we found is how you onboard people really sets the tone for your organization. And I think of how people are going to perform. And more importantly, especially if you have sales jobs, in your company, but just any position in general, I think of how you onboard people really makes a difference in people sticking with it and getting through that initial uncomfortable awkwardness that happens when you move to a new company. And you've been in your company, if you're the owner on this call today, obviously you've been at your company for as long as it started and you're very comfortable. But when a new person comes into the organization, it's very, very uncomfortable for them and usually scary. So we try and make this as easy as possible. It's structured. Each department has its own training process. Some trainings are as long as 90 days. Some are, a few days. Some are 30 days. And it doesn't mean that they're sitting in training in a classroom all day long. Some of our positions, it's classroom for the first week. But some of those positions, it's just every position has a process and a structure and a document that they follow for new hires that they take them through understanding our technology, understanding who we are. The first day when someone gets started, we do a one-day orientation. And we have someone designated here that literally just talks about the company, who we are, why we were founded, what our purpose is, what our mission is, why we exist, where we fall into the marketplace, what's important to our brand. We talk about our culture, and then each manager pops in on that one-day orientation, explains who they are, what their role is with the company, what they love about the company, and just shares a little bit about their department and what it does. And by doing this, that one-day orientation, it really just changes, the attitudes of everybody coming into the company. It's really well received and appreciated. But more importantly, it makes people feel really comfortable. And then they also get to know everyone that they're starting with. We try and hire in groups if possible. If not, then, a one-off individual will go through the orientation. Why don't you talk about the welcome email and packages that we send out, Ashley, to all the new hires?
Definitely. So, it's always so important to stay in contact with the people that you hire. A lot of the times people are working and they have to give 2 weeks notice, and a lot can happen in 2 weeks. So it's really important to just kind of stay in contact with them to make sure nothing's changed on their end, and, just gear them up to be, as excited as we are for them to start. Something that we had implemented was a nice little welcome email that goes out typically depending on when they're starting. So I had sent it out on Friday and they start this coming Thursday, but it just kind of gives an outline of what to expect on their first day. Just a reminder, you're starting this date at this time. Here's the address, even though they've probably been here before to interview. Also kind of gives the rundown of our attire, what to expect, day one in terms of hours, training, so on and so forth. There's a list of really cool restaurants and places to eat in there. So kind of making it also like a little personable, like, hey, you can bring lunch, we have a kitchen, but there's also really great places to eat in the area. And then just says, if you have any questions, please let me know. But we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And after they get that email, a few days later, they actually get a really cool welcome package from us. There's so many different things that are
in the mail.
I think now it's, in the mail. I think now it's like an NBC Yeti, planners, pens, notebooks, stuff like that. We'd say like NBC swag, but it just makes a huge, huge difference. I would say, we have people are probably getting them tomorrow because they did mail out today. But let's say, I would say like at least 50% of the people that receive them, I get an email right away saying, I just got the package. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to start. And that's just rewarding too. Just, hey, we're doing the right thing. People are just as excited as we are for them to start. And it's a little thing. You don't have to go all out and send, a huge package, but just a little something that says, hey, here's some swag. We're super excited to have you on board. Little things can make a huge difference.
The little things absolutely make a huge difference. It's not any one thing that you're going to do in your business or in life that will make big change. It's all the little things, and they do add up. The team really appreciates it. It sets the tone, and they feel appreciated. And we appreciate our people and team, and we want them to know it. There's a question from AJ in the chat. Do you hire remotely? We don't hire remotely. We do have some folks that do work remotely. And occasionally, we do onboard, our focus is not remotely, but we do occasionally have, a random remote person. So to answer your question, yes, we would follow the same process. If we were hiring them and the 1-day orientation was going to start, a few days or a few weeks later, they would virtual into that orientation, but we would still send the same welcome email, the same welcome package, and follow the process. And then they would just join the orientation virtually. And then obviously all of their training would be done virtually at that point. But we would stick to that, basically the same process, just virtually. And we would try and do it with other people so they feel a part of the team. All right. Any other questions here? If you have questions, please drop in the chat. And my pleasure, AJ, you're very welcome. All right. So, and just to follow up to that question, AJ, so great segue into things you should think about, for your remote and hybrid teams. Again, we're all about in person. We've got an amazing culture here, but we do have some folks that work remotely. And when we were all working remotely, just like we all were through COVID, some things that we found from this, some things that we did and followed and stuck to, utilizing a company group chat. We use G-Chat. Or it's through our G Suite. You can use Slack. I mean, there's so many of them. It doesn't matter. Just use one. But utilizing a group chat, seems so simple. But what's important is we've got like our team NBC chat that everybody's added to, whether you work in the office or remotely. And what's really important, because when we were all in the office, you'd acknowledge people publicly. And then when we were all virtual, that kind of gone away. So we talked about this in our meetings that, hey, we need to be acknowledging people virtually in these group chats. Like if they did something good, we give people wow cards, and it's something that we do and we'll talk about when we get to our culture. But a wow card's like when you go above and beyond for doing something that's not necessarily what you're supposed to do, just going above and beyond it, and doing something good. So all those little things we were, really acknowledging virtually in the group chat so everybody can see. And it's really cool when you drop something cool in there. For us, it's like, someone funds a deal. We give everyone a big shout out. We celebrate the wins. Someone doing good, going above and beyond. We drop them in there. It's really cool to see everyone, all their comments and stuff to those little posts that we drop in the public chat. What we also do, we are working here in the office, and for the people that work virtually, when we've had some, COVID situations and people weren't able to come into the office, we do every single morning. It starts at 9:01. We do a little morning warm up and exercises. We call it our morning stretch. It literally happens every single morning. We have someone here, Tom, who takes point on it. If he's out, someone fills in, but this happens every single morning. It's really awesome. It's a quick 5 minutes. And then we also do this virtually. So if you're not here, you can tune in and still stick to your morning stretch routine. It's really cool. And then we break out into our morning huddles. So if you're not here, we do the stretch, then we go, each team breaks out into their own huddles. And then if you're not here, you can tap into those virtually. So if your whole team's virtually and or hybrid, it's super important that every morning you're starting with a morning huddle. We've been doing daily huddles here for years. It's probably one of the best and most important things that we do. It sets the tone for the day. We talk about things that are happening in the now, things that people need to know, updates in technology, change in process, things that are happening this week. anyone has any challenges, issues, we can address those things right there, and we do those every single morning. But it's super important that you're keeping in touch. It's super important that you're doing one-on-ones virtually. But the most important thing is that you're keeping your camera on. So, our thing is, like, if you're coming on virtually, like, turn your camera on. Obviously, if you're out sick, keep your camera off. We get it and respect it. No one wants to be showing up sick on camera. But if you're working virtually or hybrid, when you're doing these check-ins, everyone needs to be, have the camera on. We had a new hire. They're working remotely. They were coming on to our meets, they were coming on to our meets without the camera on. And we were like, hey, the rule is here, like, your camera's got to be on. Like, we're working, we're a team. And being able to physically see someone, I think, builds those, like, human connections. And it's super, super important. And then you got to have trust with your team. And you got to trust what they're doing. But, I say, trust and verify. So, give people, rope to run with, but just check in and make sure that they're doing it the way that you want to do it. We don't like to hover over people here and micromanage. And I think if people are working, remotely, you got to have, like, clear expectations on, what should be done. This needs to be done on this date. And I think just everything's got to have, like, a timeline, to it. So you can at least kind of have a way to gauge and check in that they're getting their work done in a timely fashion. And to answer AJ's question, our morning huddles and morning stretches, the morning stretches like anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. And then our huddles are anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, no more than 15 minutes. And then everyone's hopped to it and at work, and getting to their work. We don't set, like, it has to be this long. Sometimes we have a morning huddle, things are rocking and rolling. It's 5 minutes, a few quick updates, a quick, share a quick win, share a quick challenge, and we just hop right back to it. But it's meant to be an upbeat, fast moving morning huddle. If you like a cool example of a morning huddle, I recommend Googling 1-800-GOT-JUNK morning huddle. And they have a really cool morning huddle strategy that they follow that I've shared with the team. All right. Anything you want to add, Ashley, before I move along?
The only thing I was just going to mention, like, whether you're a business owner or even someone in HR, just making sure your remote and hybrid teams just feel as much as part of the team as the people on site. That can make all the difference in their day and just keeping them motivated while working from home. Just making sure it's inclusive.
100%. And, like, so if we do, like, a little happy hour in the office or a little something, we'll set up a little screen where people can zoom into it. When it was COVID, we were doing virtual happy hours. People were hopping on. It's like when you're in the office, someone does something really cool. You're like, yeah, I'm going to buy you lunch today. But so we do that, for people, virtually. We'll send, like, a little Uber Eats gift card or something like that. So, still kind of like doing the things that you would do internally, now externally, and not forgetting about people who are virtual. Great point. Thanks for pointing that out, Ashley.
Of course.
All right. So building culture and retaining top talent. So some really good stuff here. And everything that we're talking about, you can do all this stuff right. But if you're not constantly focused on or building your culture, focusing on culture, building an amazing culture doesn't happen overnight. But this has made everything that we've talked about so much easier. People see our culture, we display it, we showcase it, we don't hide it. And not only do our employees appreciate it and love it here because we have a fun work environment. And just to be clear, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. We are a highly accountable organization. We hold each other accountable, but we also are very big on mutual respect. And there's no rule book that says you can't get business done, be accountable, and not have fun while you're doing it. So, for the things that don't need to be taken serious, we don't take them serious. The things that do need to be taken serious, we take them serious. But it's super important that we have as much fun as we can, and we celebrate the small wins and big wins. And we have a lot of fun here. You look at some of this stuff and you'd say, wow, it looks like you guys are having too much fun. And sometimes we do, but we're getting our work done and we're hitting our goals. And that's all that matters. Here's some cool pictures. We celebrate people's birthdays. We have a culture team. The culture team will decorate people's desks on their birthdays. We do cool luncheons. We promote health and wellness. So we'll bring a speaker in We had someone come in to do morning stretches with us and give us some different ideas. We're going to have someone that will talk about eating, good foods, and changing your lifestyle. So we're doing different things constantly. We get out and do things in the community. We set goals. We go out and have some fun and celebrate. So we're constantly doing different things. We recommend different books to read. And so we're just constantly doing things that all can improve us here professionally and personally as well too. Because I do think that business and personal kind of intersected at this day and age. And it's not just about we keep personal separate and business separate. We're all showing up to the, to the company and spending more time here than with their families. So I think it does get personal. And so we do things here that not only help us professionally grow, but also grow personally. And if you think about it, most people will start here, and they'll grow into buying a house and then having a family and then having children. And, so it's super important, I think, that we're doing other things that help people grow personally as well, too. I'm glad that you love the belt. We love the belt, too. And everyone fights to win a picture with that belt every single month. The top folks here on the team get a picture with the belt. That is a real heavyweight belt. It's metal. It weighs a ton.
It's really heavy.
And we have it on display here, and we display too, the top team members. If you can see behind that top image to the right on the wall, is a plaque, and each winner, top dog of the team each month, gets to get on that plaque. So, a few things, just kind of going back to culture and retaining top talent. Something I think that we do well, if someone's not working out, we'll go back to their PI, we'll look at it, we'll check in on it. And then before we just move to terminating someone, it's so hard to bring people in to train them, and all of the above. Obviously, that's why we're here. So we don't move to just terminate people if they're not working out. We'll really work with them. It's becoming a challenge. If we need to, we'll put an exit PIP plan in place. But sometimes we realize that, hey, this person is not in the right department. Can we move them to another department? And we've done that multiple times, and we found that that's sometimes the best thing that we could do. We've had people who were doing horrible on in one area of the business, and they moved into another area of the company and are just a brand new person. So are they in the right seat? A cool book I'll recommend is Good to Great, and in that book they talk about the right people in the right seats. So we really try and stick to that and do a really great job of moving people around, and we'll give people that opportunity. We offer, continuous growth, and we talk about that. Ashley will talk about that in the interview process. You can come in here and work in one position, and move up in the department. But more importantly, I think, especially in sales, it's important for people to know and understand that, in our sales positions, there's a career path, and you can really grow within that position without necessarily having to have a title change. And I think that's really important for people to understand as well too. But we map out, and show people what success looks like in that position. We actually give them a visual, something that they can look at. What is the first 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and then year 2, 3, and 5? What does that look like? What are the things that you need to do in order to hit X, Y, and Z? And I think people really appreciate seeing those things. And that's something that we just started doing recently, and it's gone, a long way. But, going into culture, promoting, mental and health and wellness. We're very big with health and wellness. We also have competitive pay. You need to have that this day and age. You need to really relook at how you're paying your people. The market's changing and moving, and you have to keep up with that. Sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do, and I get it, especially when you're growing your business. But the reality is, if you're not competitive, it's not fair, and you're going to lose people. We set goals and we set bonuses. Sometimes those are yearly bonuses, sometimes they're quarterly, and sometimes we just run monthly fun competitions and bonuses. It's not always tied to money. Sometimes it's a fun prize, an iPad, a tablet, a spa package. We just try and mix things up and make it fun. Sometimes it's just a night out, a dinner out. Sometimes it's just lunch. But we try and switch it up and do things just to make it fun and interesting, and just show people that we appreciate them. And, we celebrate, the little wins, whether they're wins in the office or life milestones. We do a quarterly newsletter. We talk about people that are having successes. So-and-so just bought their first home. Lauren on this call just bought her first home. She was in the newsletter. People are, having kids. We shout them out. People have good things going on, in the business, hit goals. We shout them out too. So we try and, do some fun things to really shout out and celebrate those business and life wins. And then I think it's important to get to know your employees. Ashley can talk to this. She mentioned to me the other day when going through the slides, she was like, hey, you really do a great job of getting to know people. I think that just goes a long way. Like sometimes it's not just money. It's just the little things and just getting to know the team, understanding what motivates people. And I think from understanding what motivates people too, you can sometimes put those into goals and bonuses. And you'd be surprised. And it's just asking the simple question like, hey, what motivates you? What excites you here? What makes you want to show up here every day? Like asking those very simple questions, you would be extremely surprised on the answers that you'll get back.
Yep.
Anything you want to add to that, Ashley?
Just saying that, like you mentioned, getting to know your employees on both a professional and personal level is only going to help you in the long run. That's just my opinion. But again, you do a great job at it. Like I'll hear Joe walk back and forth and say, hey, like, how's your daughter doing? Or how's your son doing? How's everything going at the house? And that just speaks to, the type of CEO that Joe is. He's very personable. And knowing someone's, a little bit about their personal life can help you manage them effectively in a professional environment. Because like Joe said, what's motivating them and you'll help to, hey, you're motivated by your family. This is why you're here. This is why you're putting in this work. That's why. So helping them see the bigger picture, getting to know them on both professional and personal level, I think is huge.
Yeah, and sometimes things are going on personally that, definitely warrant a conversation, and it could be a positive conversation. But if things are happening personally, I believe in addressing those things head on in a professional, respectful way, because if people are having personal challenges, it will affect the business side of things. So it's very hard to say that business and personal is separate because they really are all intertwined. So just leading with the last bullet here is just, emotional IQ and mutual respect. One of the most important things as a manager, HR person, or an owner, if you're on this call, it's the biggest thing. It's probably one of the biggest parts of the success here with our culture is just emotional IQ and mutual respect for the whole team. And it's across the board, with everyone. We don't have this like top-down organization. And we're huge with this. We talk about it. People appreciate it, and it goes a long way.
Agreed.
So a really great thing that we've done, a book that I recommend, 2 books, is, and this is Jen Lim, the CEO and founder of Delivering Happiness. It's a company that she created with Tony Hsieh, the CEO, the former and late CEO of Zappos. The book Delivering Happiness is awesome, just talks about culture. We utilize Delivering Happiness in our business to help us build our culture. You can do stuff with them virtually now. You can have, you can do stuff for your employees to take, but we really got on board with this probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and it changed the game for us in our business with culture. That's me with Jen recently. She came and spoke to one of our local YPO events. Jen's awesome. She just brings just really great insights, and her company has just been amazing with culture. And our new book is Beyond Happiness. I just wanted to drop that in there because it's really important that you're focusing on your culture in your organization, because that's really one of the biggest things that we do here that has just changed the game with the type of people, the type of people that we have, in the company. It's just changed. People want to stay here because we have an amazing culture, and it's also attracted people to want to work here. And it comes up constantly in the interview, not because we bring it up, because the people we're interviewing bring it up. Like, we see your culture online, we see what you're doing, we see like everything. We want to work here. So it makes a big difference. But not only does it make a big difference for everybody else, but it's, Jen says it's like culture is not about. It's not about what you do when everyone's looking. It's about what you do when no one's looking. So it's not just this thing that we just say we do and pretend like we own the culture here. And what's been really amazing is when you really get your culture to a great place, it becomes like our organization is self-filtering. And what I mean by that is if someone happens to get through our structured interview process and assessment tools and everything else, and it happens where this person just did really good job at selling us and they come in and they're not a good person, well, I will tell you that our culture will literally eat them up and spit them right out. And our team is like literally pushing people out. It's like not even like management anymore. You know, the employees will be vocal about someone who's just not a right person, not doing good things. And it really is amazing when you get it to that place. It truly is. And I never thought that would be possible, but when you put the focus on it, it is. It's really great. And building our culture has been one of the best things that we've done in the company. And it is really contributes to not only our success, but, you know, not having an issue hiring like a lot of people are today. Yep. And just here's some really cool, fun pictures with the team. We do a ton of things. We go out to events. We've got a volleyball team. We publicly acknowledge people. You know, a lot of these photos where you see like individual people together, it's because they hit some sort of a goal, whether that was a daily goal, a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a quarterly goal. We celebrate different holidays, Halloween. I mean, we're just constantly doing things. And people really appreciate it. That's the team, the culture team going out for their little annual, you know, get together and dinner. They did a little picnic here locally. And these are things that are happening, you know, at this point today without me being involved. You know, we just did a holiday party. We had a great time. And we were going there and I was like, hey, we normally put a video together for the holiday party, just like all the great things that we did throughout the year. I'm like, did that happen? And the team was like, oh yeah, don't worry. We got you covered. And it's going to be a great one. You're going to love it. Don't worry. So there's a lot of things that are happening here that like I used to always have to be involved in as an owner. And from building out that culture and putting the right people in the right seats, things are happening today that I don't have to necessarily be involved in every piece. And more importantly, I have trust in my team. They appreciate that trust. And I allow them to take the ball and run with it. And I don't micromanage those things. And sometimes things are done maybe not the way that I would love them, but it's not anything that's going to like take the company down. And it still serves its purpose and is still awesome, just in a different way. So it doesn't all have to be everything doesn't have to be always the way that I think it needs to be. And I think the teams really appreciated that. And then also sometimes you allow people to kind of go and do these things and they do them in a different way. And it's a better way than I would have thought of. And I acknowledge that too, when that happens. And I'm not afraid to acknowledge that as the CEO of the company. There's a question here from Eric. Do you run an EOS? Absolutely. We love EOS. We do a level 10 meeting every Wednesday. And we actually have our full day offsite EOS meeting tomorrow with the team. Ash will be in that meeting. EOS has been a game changer in our business. For those on the webinar right now going, what the heck is EOS? EOS is called the Entrepreneurial Operating System. There's a great book that you need to read called Traction. That book has been great, but we have an EOS implementer. Happy to make an introduction to our implementer. He comes into the business once a quarter. It helps keep us on track and in check, and has helped us implement the EOS process into our business. Again, another great thing that we've done in the business. I love that. Another EOS person on the call. Shout out to Joe. Yes, EOS has changed our company. It rocks. I couldn't even imagine, could not imagine running our business without EOS. It's been a game changer. No. And we are crushing our goals and we're crushing our quarterly rocks, just an FYI. And if you know what EOS is, then you know what I mean. All right, so let's move to Q&A. Anyone have any questions? Lauren, thank you. She's been dropping in the chat, links to our team so you can see more. Check out our website, everything that we're saying, we're doing. And also links to the different books that I've talked about throughout this webinar. But any questions, happy to bring you on live if you want to raise your hand, or you can drop a question in the chat as we wrap up here. What'd you think about this webinar? Was this helpful? If it was helpful, throw a thumbs up or a yes in the chat. Please let me know if we're doing good. Was this worth your time?
Love to
awesome.
see it.
Thank you, guys. Great to see the feedback. I appreciate it. I hope you found value in this. Again, we do this and offer this just to provide value back to you. Our mission is driving growth for all. So anything that we can do to help businesses grow is super important to us. And that's exactly why we did this webinar today. I definitely appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for joining. I know that you are busy running your business. I wish you nothing but success in 2022 and growing and getting your company to the next level. I wish you success in hiring. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I'm happy to answer any questions at any time. I love this stuff. I love helping people grow their businesses, and we're constantly pushing and growing our companies to the next level. So, please always feel free to reach out. Again, any questions before we wrap up here, drop them in the chat. Happy to answer them. And if not, Happy New Year, and I wish you a successful 2022. I hope you knock it out of the park in business and with hiring. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Be well, take care, and hope to see you soon. And yes, there will be a recording. We'll be sending it out.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you joining me today. And again, thank you everyone for joining the call.
Thanks, everyone.
Be well, everybody. Take care.